What it do with the world? It's your mind reporting on the Bamboozled Again News Network, where I'm your humble host, the Toothless Wonder. And I seen this earlier, but I just had time to kind of delve into it a little bit. But I saw a clip that's published by the Washington Post, which I guess is all BS at the end of the day, but this is probably a more reputable, if we want to call it that, newspaper publication. And it posted an article, posted an article or whatever you want to call it, that Pope John Paul Bama III, I don't even know what his name is, he says he's going to open a portal on Christmas. We know it's a pagan holiday and all that, but of all days at this time, of all things you can feed the homeless, or, you know what I'm saying, you have your mass and whatnot where y'all dressed up looking all creepy, but the Pope of the Roman Catholic Church is going to open a portal, right? So I get to discussing it with, somebody personally, right? And then they proceed to tell me that this particular event is going to be broadcast worldwide. And supposedly the portal is called Satan's Tomb, and it's underneath the Basilica, if I got that word right, underneath the Vatican. As far as being an advisor to in my mind, the upper echelon white folks, to like advise them not to do stuff like blot out the sun and all that stupid stuff, I quit. Ain't no talking no more. You can't talk to satanic cuz. I quit, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, do it. I want them to do it. They gonna do it anyway. And the Most High is allowing them to do it. But at some point, we almost to 2025, you think about it. If we was in the year 2000, if y'all can think back to that point, 2025 seems so far in the future. You're talking about, what, 2.5 decades? Honestly, we're here, but we're probably behind schedule as far as, like, the technology, like, being, like, part of everyday life. Like the robots, and, you put a little cube in a microwave and pluck that in your mouth, and that's supposed to give you all your nutrients, and, you know what I'm saying? You hop up out the bed, go in the closet, and it just automatically closes you and all that. We're probably behind schedule on that, if we were thinking back to how we think 2025 would look in the year 2000. Go ahead, do that jump. But this make me think of, I know about predictive programming, but we might just be on the tip of the iceberg. Man, he opened up the portal to the bottomless pit and released the locusts and whatnot. Man, folk in New York City, I was talking to somebody else about this. You might wake up, look out your window, and see Leviathan and Godzilla just scrapping, knocking over buildings, Joe. I know the word, talks about, certain things, but I don't think we can really picture it. But I got a vivid imagination. We darn near got cyborgs walking around now, NPC hybrids and all that. You know what I'm saying? I think they just keep us so busy with 9-to-5 culture, bills, or just the program of the Matrix simulation, that a lot of times, unless you sit still and really contemplate in peace, man, we liable to see anything, Joe. And I'm like, go ahead, do it, yo. I want to see him do it. Why not? Like I said, they're going to do it anyway. But the fact the Pope is doing it, and who are you going to have with him? The false prophet? Or that individual? And they look, I can't even find a word. They look, hideous. I can't get off Jay-Z though, right? 'Cause I've been telling folk about that man, yo. Now, I don't know if he did this one, but he do run around with some wild folks. And I've been seeing these pictures of this hideous looking, horrendous looking, ghastly ghoul that's supposed to be like the head witch for Hollywood. I say, like, at that Met Gala stuff where they all dress up all creepy, and whatnot, with these wild outfits on. You know what I'm saying? And this person is, I don't know if it's a man or a woman. I think it's supposed to be a woman, but their facial features look like somebody just reincarnated death. But they all taking pictures and smiling, especially Jigga Man and all them. Man. I don't know, like, even if I got to Hollywood, I just can't believe I might get in but so far and I'm ready to buck a U-turn, man. Forget all that. What about them? Man, I go back work at the chicken house because y'all got my spidey sense tingling. Then you can't be cut. Then they all lining each other up. You can't be comfortable around them. You don't know who's gonna get sacrificed. You know, the street's bad enough. You know what I'm saying? That's probably the lowest rung. Wickedness dwells in high places, as we see with the fall of the celebrities and the CEO man and other CEOs leaving the country, and I guess they ready to start building bunkers and whatnot. That's like on the movie Leave the World Behind. They had the inside information, mess around, told main man, but he didn't give them all the information. We gone. It's over with. You know what I mean? But again, it ain't no sense in even living in fear. I'm in this space. I'm ready to start tripping off this stuff, Because I like to believe if you're chosen, a lot of this stuff ain't going to affect you or will be, protected. Because ultimately, all this is to stop us or whatever the Most High plans to do with us. Because, Satan was probably the first hater. You know what I'm saying? That's probably why we get so much hate and don't understand it and don't make no sense. We do good to others. The more good we do, the more we help, the more they hate us. Like intellectual, it don't make no sense. But now I'm starting to grasp the spiritual revelation of why my life has had certain situations happen, or, you know what I'm saying? It's because the calling on my life that I didn't even know was on. Now, older people told me, or I might have certain inklings, but I'm not necessarily no big-headed or egotistical guy, not by a long shot. I'm greatly humble, especially now, I'm greatly humble, you know what I mean? But this just gives insight. That's why I think it's in Revelation where it talks about, again, I'm paraphrasing, where it talks about like the beast, whatever that symbolizes. And we gotta like fly away, or the earth did something and like we were protected for a time and a time or something to that effect. I know I butchered that. I know what I'm talking about. I'm just not the biblical orator or scholar. Because they're going to come after us. Because ultimately, everybody else gone. The only people who are really, like, spiritually holding this back, of course, the Most High, would be the chosen, who are being set apart or not or not taking part in the way of the heathens, looking not to fornicate, or, the basis of your existence isn't fake fiat currency and the pursuit thereof. You know what I'm saying? It seems like we're all in our different ways. We're awakening to who we really are. Not just, as far as our national identity, but who are we personally? Who am I? That's probably one of because I like philosophy and whatnot. That might be, up there with, next to, the complexities of life. Who am I? Most people outside of, let's say, what they do, see, people tend to identify themselves with what they do. So I'm the Toothless Wonder, a YouTuber. But I ain't really no YouTuber. I'm just a dude on YouTube. That's just something I do, but that's not my identity. That's why typically when I leave jobs, my confidence don't take no hit, because my confidence or my self-value wasn't tied into something I do. My confidence and self-value comes from who I am, and more so, first and foremost, my understanding of whose I am. That's what's not intellectualizing, or, which is good to, get information and apply it. But even with all that, like, these, like, let's say the super alpha dudes and whatever. Let's say you get sick and you lose your muscle. What do you then draw back on? Yeah, you put in your work to get it, but then what? What do you fall back on? You see what I'm saying? And again, here in Babylon, where spirituality is on the low rung of the value system, and if it is on the value system, more so upwards, it's on the left-hand side of things. But all those things still have no power. I know practitioners of witchcraft who are depressed. Granted, I guess you can show me be depressed, but you carry on through the depression. You don't stay depressed. Whatever season you was that had you depressed actually is strengthening you to move forward. That's why, we press forward towards the mark, the high mark of the calling of Yeshua, right? You know what I'm saying? These people are, let's say they're depressed, but they never overcome it. What they'll do is they'll just do stuff to mask it, like social groupings or people pleasing or things of that nature. But if you strip that away, Granted, if you strip if you strip, my ability to make money, I'm going to feel some type of way. But I'm going to like quickly, recover, problem solve. Because now I understand spiritually that, the Lord give, the Lord take it away. But I understand that that's not the end all be all. Like if I lost, let's say lost a way of income, I'll find other ways to make income. Let's say that don't happen. I'm still going to stepping forward. There's no deterrent. You see what I'm saying? Like, oh, I believe in God because I'm in a good place. I actually started believing in God because I was in a bad place. And it got harder. So in response to the hardship, I hardened, my mind hardened. You see what I'm saying? To the reality of the situation. Now, then at that point, once that kind of set in, then I was finding humor in a dark place. So the darkness, I was in darkness, but the darkness wasn't imposing itself on me. You see what I'm saying? Like I can be in let's say the legal situation or whatever the case may be. Initially hit, oh, wow, whoop, okay, da-da-da. And now I'm kind of like, all right, whatever. However it play out, it's how it play out. But it's not going to deter me or sour me. Granted, I'll deal with emotions and so on and so forth, but they don't stick on me long. I keep pressing forward. Because if you don't press forward, like I said, there's no more stagnancy here. You're either pressing forward or whatever's spiritually, societally pushing back against you is taking you backwards. And that's what I'm saying. Either you're progressing and pushing and struggling forward, which then gives you the requisite skills and attributes that you don't realize you need. At least that's what happened with me. Or it's pushing you backwards. Like I said, there's no more middle ground or lukewarmness. You either this or you that. You can either get with this or you can get with that. Right now in the spiritual realm, it's get down or lay down. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't finna do neither one. Just like you may not have any options, but you always got a choice. It seems like this world is giving us no options, but we still got a choice though. And your power lies in the ability to choose, even though they ain't giving you no options. Like back, I guess, Babylon time. They didn't really give you no option, but you still had a choice not to fool with them. Now, if you did that, you feel like a genius. And for those, let's say, for whatever reason, whatever the reason, you did do that, I would truly like to believe you can repent for that and it can be reversed inside your body. If you see the error of your ways and feel genuinely, a contrite heart, and again, I'm butchering it, forgive me. What he said, a contrite heart and a repentance I will not despise. I believe that's how it goes. You see what I'm saying? Like even in relation to me, right? When I told my daughter something, I ain't had no business. But and I was talking about it on here too, where I was starting the temptation to justify myself or to clear my name or to set the record straight, right? And again, in doing that, I messed around, did something I ain't had no business doing. Now I can make mistakes, but that was a mess up. And I couldn't sleep until I went back and apologized. Now, granted, they can do whatever to me. And, and I was in my flesh, right? I knew it intellectually, but I wasn't operating in it. I was operating in justification because I'm tired of fooling with them. I'm tired of them lying. Don't nobody believe the truth, man, whatever. But because I was moving in that space, I messed around and got off the mark. And I felt it in my soul, in my spirit. And I said, they done got me. So right, I end up doing wrong, or wanting to be right so bad, I ended up wrong. So I said, boy, I felt bad. Not just felt bad, but I really like, darn, Joe, they caught me slipping. So I went back, immediately apologized. It wasn't received, so I can do. I'll just make sure I don't do that no more. And me and my child had been restored. You see what I'm saying? Not saying, we get free will to just do whatever. But that's why I think shame is actually a good thing. I think that's probably been one of the contributing factors for some grace and mercy. Because when I did bad, I felt ashamed. And then what would happen, I would have to drink to not feel ashamed so I can hold my head up in fakeness, which that created a whole bunch of other issues. But I felt bad. Not just felt bad, I felt like a scourge upon the earth. I felt like old. You know what I'm saying? But from what I'm saying, people do bad, wrong all day long that they don't want nobody to do to them. And they feel, to me, it looks like they're getting an ego boost, or that's validating their person. Say, the womanizer dude or whatever. He go around sleep with all these women, lie to them, you know what I mean? Sell them a dream with no intention of fulfilling none of that. And that's what he kind of sticks his chest out as a man, right? And then as soon as he get a woman and she cheat, he can't handle it. You know what I'm saying? You should be like, oh, all right. Well, I'll just continue on being a player then. You know what I'm saying? It's real out here, man. Oh, yeah. And let's keep the homie Travis Hunter, the young Hunter, let's keep him in our prayers. Because he ready to get lined up by Shawty, though. Whatever her name is. And I seen he came out and defended her. Granted, he should. What else you gonna do? Not defend her and then she woo-woo-woo. But again, this is where, you're gonna make mistakes. That's why I think fathers and strong male role models are key. But wait a minute, hold up. If he was because he followed Dion to Colorado. So Cuz was at Jackson State when Dion brought the Brittany Renner woman there to give the young homies the game as far as, if you make it big here, the honey traps and whatnot. He must have missed that group. Granted, it's unfortunate. Because let's say we, not even in our culture, let's say another culture, like she might not necessarily be able to, get jiggy with him. So, you know what I mean? But here's how it's probably going to go based on her attitude and his quickness to defend her. You know what I'm saying? He'll get in the league. He'll probably be the show enough. And that'll run for a minute. I think she's already pregnant by him. She'll lock him down into the marriage contract. And then for whatever reason, like all the rest of them do it. And then she'll be on podcast because she won't have any validity in and of herself. She'll just be Travis Hunter's ex-wife, basketball-wise. They got shows for women who got skeeted in, you know what I'm saying? Only, like Don King said, only in Babylon, you know what I mean? But let's keep the young homie in our prayer, man, you know what I'm saying? Because he ready to take the drop, most definitely. But welcome to the league, you know what I'm saying? I mean, granted, you give an 18-year-old millions of dollars. Let's say I probably been dead, you know what I mean? Because you had the world at your fingertips. You don't understand the nuances of the game around, especially not spiritually. The pastor man ain't giving you that. You know what I'm saying? He gonna set you up for failure. He gonna tell you happy wife, happy life, all that stupid stuff. And you doing all this to make sure she happy and she'll never end up happy. You know what I'm saying? Then you all drained. Now your confidence done take a hit. Then they'll say you a bust if that goes down like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just so many pitfalls for the Negro, man. Praise be to the Most High. He let me see reality. Like the De La Soul verse. Welcome to reality. Sometimes it's hard. You know what I mean? But now I'm able to navigate the pitfalls that befall most Negroes. Women. See, if something don't agree with my spirit, I'm gone. I don't care what it is. And there's where I don't intellectualize. I don't even try to figure that one out. I'll just figure out what I'm going to do afterwards. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gone. Because I refuse to lose me at this point after it took so long to find me. And somebody asked me about my thoughts about the whole addiction treatment thing. Because that is kind of my path to even whatever spiritual things I talk about on here. The foundation of it was getting off drugs and alcohol, right? To remove that stronghold spirit, whatever you want to call it. But it took, one, I'm hard-headed. Two, I think I know, or I intellectualize, which they told me that would hinder me. Because instead of just following simple directions, the word is basically simple directions, I start tending to over-intellectualize. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that comes from, living where I lived at, where there wasn't a lot of visual stimuli. So my brain would just come up with concepts that aren't necessarily reality. And I do know this about myself. I am very idealistic. So, in respect to, let's say, child support, right? I know, yeah. I'm cheating with a little Arby's Dr. Pepper. Cheat day. Anywho, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, so let's say child support, right? I get it. But in my mind, in my idealistic mind, the government shouldn't be able to force me to do something I'm going to do anyway. You see what I'm saying? That held me back. Because I felt like that's legal extortion. No, I ain't paying y'all. Now I'll give it straight to you. You know what I'm saying? But they not going to make me do it until they start threatening to lock you up and all that. Then you got to break down. Now they didn't whip me on now I'm Toby. You know what I'm saying? But I think, back to the whole addiction and getting off drugs and recovery, as they call it, this is probably the best time to get sober and vigilant. And it's also the hardest time to get sober and vigilant. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. And here's why I say that. Because the institutions that administer treatment, for the most part, at least from my experience in Maryland, you're a commodity. If you ask me, they breed codependency on the institution. It's like you're trading your codependency from a drug to an institution. And they're creating that for financial incentive. But I think that game's ready to change up with the change in insurance and all that. Because you can't really justify now with budget shortfalls and all this. Like, I've seen certain invoices of what they charge for, let's say, a group or what. I mean, it's an astronomical number. I'm trying to figure out like who's funding, or are they just doing it just to say they did it because they created the problem? So let's create some help. But a lot of times, like even with like my homies, the homies that I know of who have like grown as men, right? Now I can't really articulate it to women because most of the institutes it was all male, right? Because women do distract you, especially when you're getting off drugs, you got all these feelings, now you're horny, and now you don't want to deal with yourself. So you use someone else to distract you from the work. But both y'all are technically broken, and both y'all have no track record of effectively living life. So what y'all look like getting together? And that happens. I could probably make it a New York, if I had enough time to sit down and do it. If I wrote recovery-related romance novels that always end in tragedy and put them in rehabs, that'd probably be enough to get me out the country, yeah. So enough. But amongst my homies that have, we're very principled. We're aware of who we are. You know what I'm saying? And that takes a lot of inner work. That takes a lot of self-reflection and self-analysis. A lot of times, not just in the recovery or addiction world, but just in this Babylonian construct in general, most people are ducking the thing they live with all day long, themselves. I've done it, especially if I'm dealing with, grief, pain, heartbreak. I don't want to deal with all that, so keep me distracted. But in the distraction, you never overcome those things. That's why you notice in, let's say, the healthcare industry, if that's what you want to call it, kind of odd play on word, healthcare, and there's no care in the health. They always treat you, but they never put you on a path of healing. You're like, if anybody who has someone they know that healing is your responsibility. Just like they'll tell you, sobriety is your responsibility. Grant, like I said, it didn't get easier. It actually got harder. And then whatever I was required to do group-wise, time-wise, let's say work therapy-wise, free job, whatever, as part of being in this institution, with whatever free time I had, I was working on me. So I started perceiving what I was going to have to do to fix my life. I was still in treatment, fixing my credit. And I figured out how to do that through, Google and YouTube. I started learning about, my personality type. I started learning about my, just me. Instead of me trying to fit into stuff, I don't need to fit in now. So I can handle isolation. Granted, it be what it be sometimes. But that's a whole lot better than being around folk don't care. Like, it just cleared my eyeballs up. I started understanding why I did stuff with no clue as to why I did it when I did it. You know what I'm saying? I started to fall in love with me again. You know what I'm saying? I started to work on improving me. Not so that other people would like me, but because I owe it to myself, because now I love me, so I treat me good. And a lot of treating me good is saying no to dumb stuff. So I will cut you off without explanation. I don't need to give you one. You know what you was doing. You just banking on the fact you think I don't know. And then what happens is you get more self-evolved, you do kind of fall into more isolation, because even in a vibrational sense, you're separating yourself from the masses. So like I say, I've been shucking and jiving the better part of, 20, 25 years. But from even when I, talk about being corrected on here or evolving or so on and so, these typically aren't things you hear people in your community, at your job, at your social. You don't hear these people talking about that. So from that aspect, not that I'm, in competition with anybody on earth, but when he reinserted me, even though I was in society, when he reinserted me in society back around people, Then I saw what he was doing all the years I was in the darkness. He was pruning me. You see what I'm saying? So if he gave me certain things too early, it might have took me off the path, or I wouldn't know what I know now. Not even that I know it, I operate in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say in June, an apple tree is supposed to start budding. So he had me on a certain timetable. Like, even now when I talk about this breakthrough stuff and all that, that's an point in time. Like, we're set to start doing certain things at a certain time. Like, I gotten out of understanding into revelation. Because again, I think I'm smart. So I'm going to put you in a situation to show you that you can't get out of, to show you how not smart you are, because by default, the way I made you, you'll start leaning towards me. And then I won't explain it to you. I'm going to just walk you through it. And then things will be revealed to you. You know what I'm saying? But for anybody who's in, active addiction, or, especially with all that Fetty Wap out here, the best thing, you can be supportive without enabling. Sometimes you got to give tough love. But the biggest one is probably prayer. Prayer does change things. Like, if we talk about various promises that have taken years, like, I come from that old school family, the praying mama, the praying aunt, you know what I'm saying? Like, prayer lines and all that. And I showed no signs of nothing. But they always kept my name before the Most High. I'm still me as far as like my personality or things like that. But it's like I got and I've said this, it's like I got a whole new operating program. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if software I got a total software hardware overhaul. So I still got the same, your computer look the same, but if you change the hard drive and the software, it'll operate different even though the computer outwardly looks the same. That's like what happened to me. Unbeknownst to me. Like, I was changing and wasn't realized because the change was so slow and incremental. And my journey was so long suffering, and he was long suffering towards me, that I found he was like the master potter. You know what I'm saying? Molding me. And I didn't get molded because I understood stuff or I knew how to ask the right questions or pray the right prayers. The journey molded me once I submitted to it. And on that note, I'ma holler at y'all. Ooh, ah.